Sequence. Yeah, you can. Okay. Oh. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Can you hear us?
Yes, Maharaj, we can hear you very clearly and loud. So,
Okay. Mukam karoti vachalam. Pangun langayate girim. Yat kripa tamaham vande. Shri Gurun Dinatarinam. Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita. Gadadara. Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So today is a very auspicious day. Very interesting. I'm in South America. We're in if you look on Google for Peru, you'll come to Lima, and if you look at Santa Eulalia, you'll see where we are. Probably you can see our house. We're out in the country. It's a very, very beautiful property, maybe 2 acres, and around us neighbors have same things. Big mountains behind us made of stone. Ducks, dogs, cats, sitafal, mango. Probably where you are. Now it's warm and we have mangoes every day from our own trees. So very, very nice atmosphere here. We're trying to develop this Sri Krishna Sankirtan. Try and help everybody. We can. Today, especially in spiritual life, of course, very, very big process. The one time somebody challenged Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati because he was publishing in the Harmonist. I think it was every week or something like that, And so then they said, this is a waste of paper. We all know about these spiritual things. And what are you doing this every week? Nothing new. And Bhakti Siddhanta said, what's to speak of every week? You could publish a newspaper every minute. There's so much happening in the spiritual world. So talking about whole spiritual world and what we're trying to do and everything else, big process. But today, of course, we're focusing on this process of Harinam Diksha. So I think we can talk maybe a little bit about that, Sri Ramakrishna Ji and the whole community. One analogy that we like very much is that we're growing up, we're trying to acquire knowledge. I don't know how many people, I remember when I was a child, at some point I came in contact with a flame, like an open fire, and they said, oh, don't touch that, it's hot or something, but I wanted to try it out. So I touched it, and I learned something, about parental advice and other things. So we have so many things like that. We go through life and so many personal experiences. We go through a certain kind of personal experiences and we realize, I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to go through that kind of process again. And also physically, we're learning about water and different animals and so many things. It's quite natural. As soon as we get a human body, of course, we have a lot of facility that cockroaches don't have, or dogs don't have. And so a human body is quite natural. You belong to some civilized culture. Annamaya, you're like an animal, you eat. Anna, life is food. That's all there is. And you identify with the material world. You have no real realization of yourself as being different from the material world. And so as it changes, you change, Annamaya. Then in pranamaya, which is air, you begin to realize that you're different than the world. You become advanced. You realize, I am this body, right? But that's advancement. I am this body. Yeah. And it maybe happens about 2 years old, I think, in ordinary human development, where you start fighting with your brothers and sisters over things. And if somebody cuts your hair, it's World War III, about that. And you have to watch to see what happens to the hair and so many things. And of course, animals develop this. They become the point to identify, I am this body, pranamaya, anamaya, pranamaya. The next is?
Manamaya.
Yeah, pranamaya, manamaya. And this is the mental life. If you start to go to school, and somebody may tell you that a little girl can do this, but not a little boy. or else Pakistani can do this, but not a Punjabi. Or Gujarati, but not a Punjabi. Okay. Yeah. And you start to identify, what am I? Oh, I'm a girl, I'm Punjabi. Yeah, okay. How I dress, how I talk. And it becomes quite developed at the point of signing big international treaties that turn back armies of thousands of people with guns from doing something. And it seems to be a very big deal, this life of manomaya, honor, all these things like that. There's some people, they go beyond that from manomaya to jnanamaya. And this is like Socrates, Confucius, Lao Tzu, maybe Chanaka. Where we start to, for example, as Confucius says, if you go for revenge, probably you should dig 2 graves first. Oh, Asa, yeah. And we begin to realize that we're all, the same thing. Begin to realize that when so many things like this during wartime, there's a movie during World War I where it was Christmas and finally the Germans and the English soldiers came out of it and very gradually, carefully were, singing songs together. Then after the next day when it was over, they had a very, very hard time fighting each other. They realized this broader platform of existence. But that's very rare. Carl Jung, who we're studying a lot, probably liked him very much. He said, when you're trying to take somebody off this manomaya platform, that I'm British, I'm American, I'm Indian, I'm Punjabi, all these kind of things. So you have to be very careful, because sometimes if you shake up the importance of that thing, they don't make progress. They actually fall down to the bestial level. Oh, what does it all matter? So it's very, very interesting how we're waking up. Nitya Siddha, Krishna Prema, Sadhya Kavunaya, Shavanadi, Shuddha Chitta, Karaje Udaya. So important, quoted so many times. Nitya Siddha, Krishna Prema. The love of God is an eternal perfection, right? Eternal perfection of the soul. Nitya Siddha, Krishna Prema, Sadhya Kavunaya. We don't get it from some other source. Shravan Adi, like we're doing now, hearing and then repeating to other people, and then beginning to contemplate it. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Shravanadi, Shuddha Chitta. The consciousness becomes purified, right? Shuddha Chitta, Karaje Udaya, and it makes us wake up. So of course it's a scientific process. Srila Prabhupada recommends so much deity worship. Muhammad recommended everybody go to Mecca one time in their life. I think this is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, right? And he recommended during Ramadan, people fast. Another pillar? Yeah, 2 out of 5 here. Professor Gupta's here. And then giving charity. Is that another pillar? Hey, I got 3 out of 5 pillars. Yeah. What else we got? Daily namaz daily. Yeah, and then doing your respects daily. Which is all these things. This is the formalities of religion, the external principles, doing these things. So a very, very analogy that we like is, of course, that somebody may come to a certain point where they realize that they need, university education. So they investigate becoming a lawyer, becoming a doctor, becoming an engineer. They investigate different schools, how much they charge, what their reputations are. So we do this. We talk to different people, visit different things, try different processes. maybe you go to one school and you ask one professor, can I sit in? I'm not a registered student, but I'm really interested in the school here and this curriculum. I've heard about you. Would you mind if I sit in on your classes like that? And he says, no, there's no, what's the word, shortage of space. And please sit in. Okay. So finally, after some time of this investigation, we decided, okay, I'm going to matriculate in this school, right? Okay. And then you go and you start to become very serious. You ask them, well, what are the requirements for matriculation? What's going on? For example, when I wanted to start engineering, electrical engineering at the University of California at Davis, I was actually missing one course. In my high school, I hadn't done drafting. Drawing or drafting with the compasses and the rulers and all that kind of stuff. It was a formal course. It was required then because I'd been very sick that semester. So then I said, okay, but so you can take it online and submit your work, and then you have an examination, where somebody is here and watches you. So I came in for the final examination. There's one graduate student sitting there. He was reading a book while I was taking it. He said, "This is the problem." And basically, I had to take one diagram, which he gave me, and make it 3/4 the size without spilling the ink. And so I did it. Okay, so then I satisfied all the preliminary requirements, for the formality. So the same thing today is like that. It's just a formality. Prabhupada says the initiation, the Diksha Guru, giving the beads. He says all these things are formalities, but he says not without meaning. Your wedding's arranged. Everything knows is going to happen. It's all been approved medically, socially, everything else. But okay, probably ask all the people here if you're married, on the day of your marriage, were you nervous? Raise your hand if you were nervous on the day of your wedding. Okay. Okay. Yeah, because now it's very serious. You after this, it's not a matter of thinking about it. Now we made this decision, we've got to stick with it. So Prabhupada said it's these rituals that we're doing, these activities, they have significance, and not only significance on the social level, like in Manomaya, or on the level of wisdom and developing that level in Jnanamaya, but these things have actually the deepest significance possible, in reestablishing our relationship with Krishna, waking up our Krishna prema. So today is Harinam Diksha. It's the idea. It's it's matriculation into the school, and after you're matriculated, you go back and some of the courses you already audited, you visited. Now you go in and the professor sees, oh, I saw your name here. Congratulations. It's really nice to see that you're now a regular student and stuff. And he says, you already know like 90% of what I'm going to teach, but these are some things I'm going to change and make a little different, add these and so on. So yeah, we're already chanting 16 rounds on our beads. What's the difference? Well, but now we've made a certain commitment. There's a difference, actually, you make that commitment and so on in terms of your attitude and everything else and what's happening. And also from our side, Upadeshamrita, this is all on our webpage, Prabhupada's saying that if we're chanting 16 enthusiastic, notice the word, 16 enthusiastic rounds a day, following the 4 principles strictly, then we are guaranteed step by step to rise to the platform of Uttama Adhikari. So that's the contract. You sign up with the university, they say, okay, you stick like this. In 4 years, you'll be qualified to take the bar examination and become a lawyer. And all of our students, except for very strange cases and things, pass the examination. So there's the contract. And it's no blind faith is required. Bhagavad Gita 4:34. Prabhupada says blind faith and absurd inquiry are condemned. Not just like we don't think much of them. No, they're condemned. If somebody tells you, oh, you have to pick up your rifle and go shoot the evil enemy, believe in Hitler, believe in Hirohito, why? No, you must have blind faith. One time I saw a big, Mormon movie about their ideas, their traditions. And it was supposed to be right after Jesus Christ disappeared. And Thomas, one of the saints, had his doubts. And politely and other things also say, no, you just have to believe. You have to have believe, blind faith. But no, that's not the situation. Prahlad Maharaj was a little boy. How old was Prahlad Maharaj? 5 years old. Okay, yeah, very young child. And so he was in front of his father, who was so big and powerful. He conquered the universe. His father like that. And Prahlad, his father, how did they try and kill Prahlad? How? Huh?
Throwing from the cliff, poisoning, throwing from the cliff, and under the elephant, putting under the elephant, and snake bites, and in the fire pit.
Okay, but none of these things worked. None of these things worked. So finally, they decided on the most destructive possibility, which was send him to school. Was it? No? Yeah. So we have all of our educators here. Yeah. If poisoning them, stomping on them, setting them fire, everything else, sticking spears in them won't work, then we'll send them to school, Goswami Academy. They never check out. Yeah, but even that didn't work. Instead, he was exact opposite. He was preaching and turning all the students into devotees and so on. So then Hiranyakasipu was sitting on his throne with his liquor, with bad smelling breath, blurry eyes, looking down at Prahlad Maharaj, who was standing in front of him very respectfully with folded hands. And he asked him, "Where does your power come from, Prahlad?" And what did Prahlad say? My power comes from the same source as your power and everybody's power. Vishnu, God. So Hiranyakasipu said, "Where is this God of yours, Prahlad?" Prahlad says, "He's everywhere." Then Hiranyakasipu points to a big stone column and says, "Is he in this column?" And then Prahlad looked, and Lord Vishnu did not require blind faith. It says he made his presence felt. And so Prahlad just simply answered in a very simple, honest fashion, "Yes, he's there, he's there." So that's all we're asking at first initiation, is that, that no artificial questions, no. There should be so many questions, so many unresolved doubts, and different levels of doubts, whether, for example, if you come from Indian tradition, come from Pushti Marg, you may be convinced that the greatest devotee is Mother Yashoda, okay? And we're coming along and saying, no, Radha, okay? So that it's not whether life comes from atoms and molecules, it's not whether Sriman Narayan is the supreme form of God, it's whether Krishna's mother or his girlfriend loves him more. Which is, at this point, may sound like a completely stupid question. They both love him. Who loves him more? What do you mean more? They both love him completely. Yeah, so, but at a certain point, that's what happens. Because the mantra we're giving today, Golokera, Golokera, Premadana, Harinama Sankirtana, it's coming. It's not just a dead thing. In my experience, Prabhupada had a tape. It was a tape of the Gayatri mantra, because it was just not practical for him to be giving second initiation all over the world. So at some point he started giving it, the devotee would sit alone in the room and listen to the mantra. Even Narayan Maharaj supported this. He said Bhakti Siddhanta gave the Gayatri mantra to disciples who were in Malaysia by telephone. So this is considered appropriate. But I know, I think it was 2 or 3 people who actually stole the tape and listened to it. And one of them had to go to a mental hospital and have a frontal lobotomy. It was so crazy. It was every single one of them, but nuts, crazy. All 3 of them. Yeah. So the mantra we're giving today is now it's being authorized coming from Krishna, coming from Krishna. And so this is Harinam and Diksha. We're being connected to Krishna. The opportunity there is now to chant authorized mantra, 16 rounds a day, enthusiastic, fall for principle strictly, and then we'll be elevated to the proper Paramahamsa. And one very, very nice conversation, which was in Italy, right? Prabhupada was talking to some nice professor, maybe like 30 years old or something. He was an Indologist. I think like a nice person, but a little bit proud of his knowledge and so on. So he was asking Prabhupada, he said, so are you giving Diksha? And Prabhupada said, yes. And I think he asked to the girls, and he said, yes, we are also giving to the girls. You know? But then Prabhupada said, but first we give Harinam Diksha. And he said, that is more or less experimental. And when we see the disciples are properly advanced, then we give them real initiation. So spiritual initiation, real initiation. But then Prabhupada continues and he says, but in the current age, Jiva Goswami says, Harinam Diksha is sufficient. You know, we had so much direct association, so much with Jayananda Das. Our like direct association with Prabhupada, because some where we personally saw him and came in contact with him, where we heard from his lips, and many very important things. But mostly, day-to-day basis, it was through Jayananda, Bhakti Swarup Damodar Swami, and Hansaduta, who had been secretaries of Prabhupada, traveling with him, sleeping same room, and so many things. And I got to know them, and what their character was. If you want to see through the telescope, you've got to be able to see the first lens. And you have to be able to line that lens up with the second lens. Hansaduta was a very, very amoral person. He grew up during the Second World War in Germany, and he had to take care of his mother, brother, and sister when his father wasn't there. So he would lie, and do things to take care of them. And he would do it in such a way as not to hurt other people, but whatever he had to do, properly like that, in such a way to adjust the situation. So because of that, he grew up with a very, very amoral relationship with government and authorities, which resulted in different things. So he told me that one time in the beginning of ISKCON, they were having their Sunday feasts in Montreal or something, and people were coming, and then they have very, very nice feast and nice prasad, and many people were attracting and being attracted and joined. And the temple president was Kirtanananda, very strong leader. And so they made gulabjamam. So it was a very, very, very hard process, People, and we know that Mataji makes very, very good gulabjamam with the devotees in there, some of the best gulabjamams in the world. Okay. Very nice. But for them, of course, very difficult process. And then the rule was that the devotees in the temple could have one each during the Sunday feast. But the guests could have more. Okay. So Hansaduta, after the lecture and everything else, prasadam was being distributed, he wanted to have a second gulabjamam. So he went to the Kirtanananda and he said, I want to have a second gulabjamam. He said, no, you can't have any. He was angry. It was okay. I'm going to go to Prabhupada. Okay. I'm going to go to Prabhupada and ask him if I can have 2 more gulabjamams. And Prabhupada was on the opposite side of the room. So he walked over to next to Prabhupada, and Kirtanananda was watching from the other side. And to Prabhupada, he said, Prabhupada, would you like some kirtan? And Prabhupada nodded his head, yes. So I knew Hansaduta. And so then when he said, Prabhupada did this, Prabhupada said that, then I knew, how to adjust it in terms of his particular consciousness. So that's parampara. We get to know people practically. And that's the first lens. So we're trying to see A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. He's the acharya for everybody in the society. And through him, we're trying to see Krishna. No, we're trying to see Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. And through him, we're trying to see Gorkishore Das Babaji, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Jagannath Das Babaji, Vishwanath Chakravarti, Narottam Das Thakur, Krishnadas Kaviraj, Raghunath Das Goswami, Swarup Damodar, And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then we're going with Ishvara Puri, Madhavinda Puri. But Lord Chaitanya is powerful enough that we can go back to Krishna, really. But then Madhvacharya, everything else. So it's a living parampara. You start chanting the songs of Narottam, and you'll actually feel how Narottam is, happy, and he'll tell you, you get an understanding of what he meant by things and what he was thinking, how his consciousness was, what he was thinking like that. So this is entering into the parampara. And again, if you don't have to take second initiation. Jayananda Das, who I'm talking about, is what we got on this subject, he was way, way beyond, second initiated devotee. As far as I can tell, and Tamal Krishna Maharaj, Satsru Maharaj, Rameshwar, so many people, Prabhupada's indications in dealing with him. He was probably a Nityasiddha personality who came into this world to help Prabhupada's movement. And so many others, a whole other presentation. But his Brahman sweat was black from automobile grease, from fixing the automobiles. He forgot some of the mantras. But he would go 72 hours without eating or sleeping to make the Rath Yatra happen. Then he would sit down and chant 3 days worth of japa without moving in front of Jagannath with tears coming from his eyes. Okay. If you take second initiation, maybe not. But if you don't, then the Maha Mantra becomes everything that the Gayatri Mantra needs, and maybe even more. In the beginning, the chanting, it allows us to distinguish from matter and spirit, from illusion and matter. But as we're accustomed to that, as we're always living on the spiritual platform, as we become Brahman, then it allows us to see the varieties within Brahman. We begin to see the features of the deities, what they're feeling, what they're thinking, Sat Chit. And then when we go on with that, it allows us then to reciprocate with Krishna. Krishna in Mahavishnu, Krishna in Vaikuntha, Krishna in Ayodhya, Krishna in Mathura, Krishna in Vrindavan, Krishna in the arms of Mother Yashoda, Krishna in the Ras Leela. So the mantra we're giving is very, 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 very special mantra. It's kind of like a little summary of perspective and ideas, what's happening, and so many questions. But we're coming to the point where we're saying no matter what happens, chanting 16 rounds a day and following 4 principles, is a good thing. Doesn't matter what I want to do. This is going to be a good thing, whether I want to be software engineer or the biggest bank robber, whatever. You made certain decisions. We're looking everywhere for a job. We leave our resume so many places. Then we get a letter that says, okay, if you want to work for the Bank of Richmond, then on Friday at 3 o'clock, go to this room and talk to this person. Okay. This is Sambandha, right? They pay, I work. There was an initiation ceremony, Sunday feast in San Francisco, a small temple. And Prabhupada said, oh, some of you said, if you want to, come tomorrow. We'll be having a ceremony called Diksha, initiation for some of our disciples, and you're all welcome to come and participate and see this, watch this for people who will be initiated. So one person, well-dressed, he hadn't been coming very much. He said, Swamiji, can I also be initiated tomorrow? And the devotees thought Prabhupada would say, well, you must come a little more, understand our classes, get used to chanting. And Prabhupada said, yes, you can be initiated tomorrow. But you must answer 2 questions. Okay? Sri Ramakrishna, there's 2 questions. Who is Krishna? Okay. Second question, who are you?
Part and parcel of Krishna.
Okay, it's close enough. the man thought both times the man was thinking a little bit. And Prabhupada's there in self-presence. He said, please God, okay, and who are you? I'm his servant. Prabhupada said, yes, you can be initiated. That's Sambandha. They pay, I work. Okay. Am I going to be a bank guard, a bank cleanliness person? Am I, security? Am I going to be a clerk? Am I going to go into a management stream? This is second initiation. come to that level. Okay, I'm Brahmana, I'm Kshatriya, I'm Vaishya. I need second initiation. Well, I'm lower class Vaishya, ordinary working guy. I don't need it. It would actually be a disturbance to my service because I always have to be clean, always have to be standards. So it's kind of all our basic presentation about today's activities. When I saw on the schedule 45 minutes for this, I thought that's impossible. Yeah. I saw 45 minutes for the fire sacrifice. That's impossible. So all these things move prasadam closer. Yeah. So koi prashna hai?
No, Maharaj.
Oh my goodness! Wow. Okay. Anybody else have any questions or comments? Can you hear our dogs?
Yes.
Yeah. They have very, what they're basically saying is this is my boundary. Yeah. It's very interesting, the social life here. Every morning after a little bit after sunrise, they go up and down the fence and the hedge and they bark at each other and establish this is their side of the place. And in the evening, they also establish it. But as soon as that's over, they run through like children. They go through the hedge and they run off together in gangs and play and come back and stuff. But they have a social life and intelligence, but they haven't got enough to take advantage of this process. So does anybody in the audience here have any questions or comments? Oh. Huh? Okay.
So Maharaj, a question here.
I have a question, Gurudev. When Mahamantra is capable of cleansing us and doing everything, why do we need Kama Gayatri or any Gayatri mantra to do the cleansing? Why can't we use the same mantra to cleanse ourselves too? Why do we need to do it Gayatri mantra for cleaning or whatever it is, extra kind of? Why can't we use the same mantra to do everything? And it is being Mahamantra.
So this is a very, very basic question again and again. So one time devotees asked basically the same thing. Prabhupada, if this chanting Hare Krishna is sufficient, why do we have to get up at a certain time of the day? Why do we have to chant on beads? Why do we have to do so much loud chanting with devotees? Why do we so why so many other things like that? And Prabhupada said, it's like food. He said, if you eat, there will always be a reaction. He said, but if you eat properly, then there'll be a better reaction like that. So another time he says, in one purport, he said, in this age of Kali, Haranama, chanting Hare Krishna is sufficient. He said, but this is for liberated souls. And he says, most of the people we are liberating are not, most of the people we're initiating are not liberated. Therefore, for them, the deity service is essential. To establish cleanliness, punctuality, to have the opportunity to realize that Krishna is a person, and also as I learned today, listening to the class today, it also allows us to realize that Krishna is a different person than we are, like that. Yeah. So that's why, it's if you, we'll make it very simple. Okay. All you have to do is chant the Maha Mantra, okay, and stop eating. Okay. And in 3 weeks, you'll be with Krishna. I guarantee it. Now, okay. Some people maybe don't want to wait for 3 weeks. All you have to do is to stop, is to chant Hare Krishna and stop. Stop drinking water. And no food, no water, and you'll be with Krishna in 3 days. You know what's next? 3 minutes. It's that simple. All you have to do is just check it right here. Here's the deal. You want it. Here we got it right here. Okay. It would be basically just start chanting on your beads, and without breathing, and within 3 minutes you'll be with Krishna. Okay, nobody's taking up the offer. Yeah. Or else you'll get the intelligence from Krishna to realize, okay, I have things to do here. It's things like that and so on. Yeah. I mean, so for somebody giving up smoking, they think I'll die. You know, if actually, I know people who have given up smoking, it feels like they were dying. Every single legally addictive substance you can get is in tobacco. You're not just smoking tobacco, you're smoking monosodium glutamate, everything else, you know. And so when you start, and I know people, you stop smoking, your body goes through, you know, heart palpitations, constipation. It's unbelievable trying to give it up. And you understand why, because you become addicted to all these things. You can't evacuate without smoking. You know? But somebody else may think, well, that's stupid. You don't need tobacco to live. You know? Okay. But then the next thing, of course, is the time of death, there's no air. Okay, so are you ready to stop breathing? Well, no. But yeah, but you can do it. You go on chanting, you discover that there's a lot, have to hang on to every sound, every word. I am chanting enthusiastically after 5 years. I'm beginning to realize, yes, this mantra is so alive. This mantra is so much alive that I don't need to breathe air. I don't need to get energy from food. And sometimes I can see it's possible. And you start to see other kinds of attachments that you have and so on. So all these other things help. Varna ashram helps. The seed is Bhagavat Dharma, okay? Grow it. But to grow it well, you need proper water. You need proper sunlight, right? You need proper fence to protect it. And this is Varna ashram Dharma, right? So second initiation, all these kind of things, the deity worship, all these kind of things, training for Brahminical life, and beyond that for other life, Kshatriya, Shudra. Yeah. So these things all help the other process. But the main thing is as much as you can chant the Maha Mantra, do it. If you have any choice with any service, any other service, chant. Jayananda, I heard from Jayananda's lips that Prabhupada said, from Prabhupada's lips, as long as you're chanting Hare Krishna, you're making progress. Yeah. And of course, the Maha Mantra manifests also as the Bhagavatam and in different ways. Another thing, I can go on forever here. Hansa said one time he was driving Prabhupada in India, and Prabhupada asked him, he said, why do you think I've written so many books? You know? And he said, oh, Prabhupada, it's just good philosophy, everything else. And he said, Prabhupada said, no, I've written so many books to convince you to chant Hare Krishna. If you're convinced in chanting Hare Krishna, you don't have to read any of these books. Yeah. And Hansadada said at that point he realized he was not convinced, to always chant. And that beginning, always chanting is the beginning. Always chanting with attention, always chanting with meaning, always chanting with deep meaning. Okay. So it goes on expanding like that very naturally. Okay, does that answer your question?
Yes, Gurudeva. It's a wonderful example with that. No,
Okay.
Friends and everything is a very, very wonderful with that.
Okay.
Thank you, Gurudeva.
Maharaj, one question. So Maharaj, you mentioned that Srila Prabhupada said that if we chant 16 enthusiastic rounds and then follow 4 regulative principles sincerely, then it is guaranteed. So Maharaj, I request you to please expand on these 2 words, sincerity and because every day is not the same. There are ups and downs, and as conditioned souls, struggling souls, we sometimes have different kinds of sadhana, and also everyone keeps a different perspective. Maharaj, we would like to hear your perspective on these 2 words.
So these are citations from the Upadeshamrita. And then this is where Utsahan, Nishchaya, Daryat, it's the third verse. And that's where the word enthusiasm is coming in. Upadeshamrita is first instructions for neophyte devotees, but it includes everything. And the references in there, of course, we're publishing a little book soon, have to have it out. The references that are given in the purports coming from Prabhupada, coming from Bhaktisiddhanta, the Acharyas, those lead you to all the other citations in Prabhupada's books. Practically speaking, I would say if you just follow the citations in there, you have such a nice, education from all of Prabhupada's books, beginning. So he defines enthusiasm as action executed in Krishna consciousness with intelligence. That's the key. Kirtanananda one time was in San Francisco, and he was saying, probably from Prabhupada, if you lose your enthusiasm, you can always find it in your intelligence. Okay. Intelligence basically means two things. What is the goal, and how can I achieve it? So you should be chanting with an idea of what is the goal, right? Yeah. I want to go back to sleep, to sleep. I want to go back to sleep. I want to go back to sleep, to sleep. I want to go back. No. Yeah. So those are not enthusiastic rounds. What is the goal? Oh, that's wonderful. I remember why I'm doing this. Everything else, at least liberation, and then something else will come. I have some conviction, but I can never do that. So you don't know the goal. So you're not enthusiastic. Then you begin to figure out what is the goal, how to do it, what I can do. I get up in the morning, this and that. This is the beginning, formality. But basically the idea is that somebody has been doing it for 1 year. So they have a pretty basic idea. Now, barring unusual, weird circumstances, I can do this my whole life. So it's not like if something strange happens, okay, you get shot. I mean, one of my disciples was visiting here. She was in an auto accident. She was in a coma for 2 months, and then she came out of the coma just on a level of consciousness of a vegetable. And gradually she came back to another month in the hospital before they could take her home and take care of her. Okay, so she didn't chant her rounds for a certain time. Yeah, but okay, that's Krishna doesn't what's the word, like, hold it against you. But under normal circumstances, same practical thing. Prabhupada says, same purport, spiritual life is not a matter of, what's the word, imaginative, what's it go? Imaginative ecstasy or something else like that. Artificial goals. Spiritual life not a matter of, so sentimental speculation or imaginative ecstasy. It's not a matter of sentimental speculation based on the senses or imaginative ecstasy. It is practical activity in the foreground of spiritual life. So it's not practical to chant 16 rounds a day if you're in a coma. Yeah, it's not practical to chant 16 rounds a day if you're in the level of a vegetable. Yeah. So that's it. Also, Prabhupada says you cannot be enthusiastic unless you get up early. And like these people in Vrindavan, they're all moving hour and a half before the sun comes up. And he says, little arti kirtan, and then chanting on your beads, reading Bhagavatam. Yeah. And then you'll be enthusiastic. You're chanting, you want to chant, your concentration is there. And like you say, there are ups and downs. When the mode of ignorance becomes very prominent, then it's difficult. When the mode of goodness is there, it's very easy. We're in the water, we're being carried along by the river. Sometimes it's smooth, sometimes it's smashing us along. We find a very, very nice tree. We get on the tree, we're going down the river. There's honey on the tree, there's fruits, everything else. It's a human body. And Krishna's running along the side of the bank or in a boat telling us, take the rope, take the rope. Get off the tree. Oh, well, I don't want to, it's a nice tree. He's yelling, waterfall, waterfall. Okay, so then we take the rope. And that's Harinam Diksha. Now, if these problems come, there's a big difference being in the water holding onto the rope than there is with no rope. Waves may come, but you just grab on, hold your breath, and you make it through. I've got to chant my rounds. Now, this is happening, that's happening. I've got to chant my rounds. And then you can make it through them. You'll see the mantra is real, and you learn the reality. Okay. So that's enthusiasm means action executed in Krishna consciousness with intelligence. And that, of course, that very obviously comes from every day associating Prabhupada, reading his books like that, so on. And strictly, Prabhupada gives standard, 4 principles he describes in the Upadeshamrita. he describes no haritaki, no pan, no LSD, no opium, no marijuana. I mean, he gives very detailed, details there and so on. Yeah. Yeah. It's okay?
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you.
So no LSD or marijuana. Okay. So maybe we can go ahead with the next part of our process here.
Yes, Maharaj. So
In the law, it says, "Speak now or forever hold your peace." That's it. So, last chance. Okay, this is it. Now we'll proceed towards the human sacrifice. We hope the priest is qualified.
Maybe a blessing, Maharaj, will do everything. So we take this opportunity on behalf of our whole community. We would like to express our sincere gratitude to His Holiness Chittai Maharaj for this day. Actually, for a community, this is a very, very special day. This is a day of immense happiness and joy, as seeing one of our congregation devotee taking up this step in one's spiritual journey. And in case of Ramakrishna Prabhu, we have seen that in just a short span of time, Prabhu has taken this process so seriously and made wonderful, wonderful progress. And today is actually the beginning of the next, journey ahead. And Maharaj very, very kindly giving our dear Ramakrishna Prabhu shelter. And we have so many devotees online, so we also take this opportunity to welcome them, thank them for all their support for past few years, and also devotees different parts of the world, and Radhikaraman Prabhu and other senior Vaishnavas there in Peru. So we are grateful to all the Vaishnavas who are present here for this auspicious ceremony. It's truly, truly a very, very joyous moment for all of us. So we'll start as Maharaj gave the instructions, and now we will start the ceremony. So what we'll do is I think first we will do the beads. Achman, yeah, was that. Okay, so first we'll start with the Achman, and then Ramakrishna Prabhu will get the neck beads. And after that, after Achman, we will start with the initiation ceremony. Maharaj will give the name and beads virtually. The beads are ready. And once Prabhu gets his new name and new Gotra, with new Gotra, new name, new birth, he will perform or participate in this Homa, which is basically our Mangalacharan Homa or Guru Parampara Homa. Will offer our respects, our worship to our Vaishnavacharyas, through Vaishnavacharyas all the way to the Lord. So that's the plan for today. So we'll start, Maharaj, with your blessings. Good. Oh yeah. So maybe we can start with some auspiciousness. Our kids will sing Shanti Panchakam for a few minutes, and then we'll create the auspiciousness and we'll start. Okay.
What kind of cameras?
Namaste Vayo Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahma Vadishami Nitama Vadishami Satyama Vadishami Tanma Sadvataram Avatu Avatu Vataram Om Shanti 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 Om Samno Vetra Samvarunaha Samno Bhavat Varyama Samno Indra Brihaspati सम्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मवादिशं हृदमवादिशं सतमवादिशं तन्मामावे तद्भक्तारमावे आवे मामावे भक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति 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 ॐ सहना भवतु सहना भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनामधितमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ तत्सोलाभिनेमहे ज्ञातुं यज्ञाय ज्ञातुं यज्ञपतये दैवी स्वस्ति वस्तुना स्वस्तिर्मानुषेभ्यः ऊर्ध्वं जगातु भेषजं सम्नो अस्तु ध्रुवदे संचतुष्पदे ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
Thank you. Okay. Ramakrishna Prabhu, we start with the Atman. So take this cup near you. Okay. So with this finger, touch the tip of this finger. And cover your hand. Say Gangecha, Yamunecheva, Godavari, Saraswati, Narmada Sindhu, Kaveri, Jalesmin, Siddhim Kuru. Right hand, just wash the right hand. And then with right hand, wash the left hand. And then take that water. Look at the water and say Om Keshavaya Namaha. And sip it from the wash. Take it in. Look at the water. Om Narayana Namaha. Om Madhavaya Namaha. Chant. Everyone can chant this mantra. Om Vitro Vitro Va Sarvavastha Gatopi Va Yasmare Pundrikaksham Abhayam Bhayadan Suchi Shri Vishnu Shri Vishnu Shri Vishnu. One more time. Om Apavitro Apavitro Va Sarvavastha Gatopi Va Yasmare Pundrikaksham Abhayam Bhayanandara Suchi Shri Vishnu Shri Vishnu Shri Vishnu. Om Apavitro Apavitro Va Sarvavastha Gatopi Va Yasmare Pundrikaksham Abhayantara Suchi Shri Vishnu Shri Vishnu Shri Vishnu. Okay, the neck beats. You all can chant Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay. Very nice. So now Prabhu is ready to go to the spiritual master and receive and bow and receive the name and beads from Maharaj. So you can go. So you can pay obeisances to Srila Prabhupada and then pay obeisances to Maharaj.
Om Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hi. So, what are the 4 regulative principles?
No meat eating, Maharaj. No intoxication. No illicit sex. No gambling.
Okay, that's 4. Okay. You promise to follow these 4 principles strictly your whole life.
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay. And you promise to chant 16 enthusiastic rounds every day.
Yes, Maharaj, I do.
Okay. Now, we had the same problem that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati did when he initiated Srila Prabhupada, because he already had a spiritual name. So Prabhupada's name was Abhay Charan, and he became Abhay Charan Aravinda. So your name is Rama Krishnananda Das. So, we lost you here. Okay. Now we're going to do something very special. If you stick your hand out, I'm going to pass the beads to you. You'll see your hand appearing on the screen.
Rama Krishnananda Prabhu ki.
So that actually wasn't your hand appearing here. Yeah. That was actually Radhika Raman Das's hand appearing here. And his hand will be on the airplane Tuesday, carrying your beads like that and deliver them like that. So until then, you can chant another set of beads. Okay. So thank you all very, very much. It's very, very nice process, and Maya is very unhappy today.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj.
You can compare successful. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so now Rama Krishnananda Prabhu will have the Mangalacharya Homya, and then few other devotees will also participate. So we'll start by Agni Sthapana. Okay, so now we can start soft people. first we ignited the fire, and then we requested Lord's presence because Lord is also the fire. So we invited Lord. So there are different types, different forms of Agni. So we invited the Lord to be present as Agni, and then we worship the Lord in the form of Agni. And now, after the purification, now through Agni, we'll offer our worship, our devotion to our Vaishnava acharyas, and all through the Lord itself. So now, whoever is participating can come close to the yajna pult, and using these two fingers, so using these two fingers, we pour a little on every swaha. So everyone can repeat, and only on swaha we can put it. Om Jnanatimirandasya Unmilitam
Saraswati,
Namine,
Namine,
Shivanavi,
Devi,
Daityaya,
Daityaya,
Vedante,
Krishna Sambandha, Vijnana, Daine, Madhuryotuta, Namostute, Namaste, Gauravani, Shri Murtaye, Srinathamine, Rupanuga,
Anta
मन्तर्गते
मत्सर्वस्य
मत्सर्वस्य
पदाम्भोजो
पदाम्भोजो
राधामदनमोहन
राधामदनमोहन
स्वाहा
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 दिव्य
दिव्य
वृन्दारण्य
वृन्दारण्य
कल्पद्रुमदः
कल्पद्रुमदः
श्रीमत्
श्रीमत्
रत्नाकर
रत्नाकर
सिंहासनस्तु
सिंहासनस्तु
श्रीमद्राधा
श्रीमद्राधा
श्रीलगोविन्ददेवो
श्रीलगोविन्ददेवो
पृष्ठालधि
पृष्ठालधि
सेव्यमानो
सेव्यमानो
नामि स्वाहा स्वाहा श्रीमान दासरसारंभी
रासरसारम्भे
वंशीवट स्थिता कर्षन् वेणु सुनेत गोपीनाथ श्रियस्तुना स्वाहा 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 तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानु सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरि प्रिये स्वाहा श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद स्वाहा स्वाहा ओम हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे
कृष्ण हरे हरे
हरे राम
हरे राम
राम राम हरे हरे
राम राम हरे हरे
स्वाहा
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 स्वाहा ओम हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा
कृष्ण
कृष्णा हरे हरे
कृष्ण हरे हरे
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे
राम राम हरे हरे
स्वाहा
स्वाहा
स्वाहा स्वाहा ओम हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे
कृष्ण हरे हरे
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे
राम राम हरे हरे
स्वाहा 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 Okay. Now, make this fire blazing to consume the final offering, which will be our bananas. So now we request all the participants to stand up, especially the initiate. Now this will be the final offering. So you can slowly pour all the leftover samagri very slowly to the side, not on top of the fire. And then, yeah, everyone can come. Yeah, everyone can join. So Maharaj is also having this banana. This is the final offering. So basically, banana represents ourselves, and this fire also, Acharya says, represents the holy name. So we put ourselves in the fire of holy name, especially for the initiate. So with that mood and ultimate prayer to Lord Hari, Lord Krishna, will put our samagri and banana. And then we need to make little space here so that we can start the circumambulation. So maybe we can prepare it now. So Maharaj's altar can come to this side too. If you can, someone can move. And these cameras can move a little bit. Yes. Yeah, this one. Final offering. Om Brahmanaya
Devaya
Om Brahmanaya Hitaya cha Jagadhitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Only the samagri. And on the third mantra, we'll have the bananas. Om Namo Brahmanaya Devaya Go Brahmanaya Hidaya cha Jagadhitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. On the samagri, whatever you have, you can put it maybe to the corner side. Yeah. Just put everything.
Can you come to the side?
Okay. Very nice. Okay. So now this final offering will be the bananas. Om Namo Brahmanaya Devaya Go Brahmanaya Hitaya cha Jagadhitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Okay, so this concludes, and now we'll have Kirtan party. So Maharaj also placed the banana he has in the fire. Now we'll do the Kirtan and we will circumambulate the fire. And very joyfully dance, and also we request all the devotees online to bless Rama Krishna Nanda Prabhu. Okay, so we can start Kirtan. Start Kirtan.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Hare
Jayom Vishnupatar Mahamsa Parivajakacharya Stoter for Shishinan Sarasi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srupapara Kita Ananta Kuri Vaishnava Vrinda Kita Namacharya Hada Thakur Kita Prem Sriho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Shiva Sati Gaura Vrinda Kita Shri Shri Radha Krishna Bhakti Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Girikam Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Ki Jai Shri Vishwan Yatra Ki Jai Shri Happy New Year Ki Jai Shri Rama Krishna Nandas Ki Jai Sabgaravata Vrinda Ki Jai. All glory assemble the devotees, all glory assemble the devotees, all glory Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Oh, Raghunandi Hari Bol. Sarivada Jaja. We hope to see you all in the initiation of the new temple.
Yes, Maharaj. We are very-
Please bless us that our movie is a success also. Haribol! And you can have 2 gulab jamuns.
Two gulab jamuns. Okay, so we also thank our Richmond family. So can we see who all are here? So we have so many devotees from our congregation. If you would like, you can turn on your cameras and you can bless Rama Krishnananda Prabhu. So you can go in front, and if you can, please turn on your cameras and you all can have a little get together like this for a few minutes. You can talk, you can beg for blessings.
Thank you for joining for today, my initiation ceremony, all devotees. Please bless me, and please, I would like to serve my whole life to all devotees and Srila Prabhupada mission. And I would like to serve my Guru Maharaj. And please bless me for my future achievements. Thank you. My parents are in WhatsApp.
Oh, they are here. So yeah.
My in-laws, my father, sister, and
Oh, okay. So pranams to all the family members from ISKCON Richmond Sangha.
Atta Mahaya.
So
వినిపిస్తుందా?
they can speak, right? I mean, they can unmute themselves.
Yeah. అన్మ్యూట్ చేయండి అత్త, అన్మ్యూట్ చేయండి,
We can unmute.
మ్యూట్ లో ఉన్నారు. అత్త మావయ్య.
బాగుందిరా. పెద్ద ఆయన చక్కగా వచ్చారు, అందరూ బాగా జరిగింది. అయిపోయిందమ్మా. నీకేం పేరు పెట్టారు ఇంతకు?
రామకృష్ణ నందదాస్ అత్త.
రామకృష్ణ నందదాస్. నీ పేరు కూడా కలిసి వచ్చేసింది. నందనా పేరు కలిసి వచ్చింది. నందదాస్. సూపర్. మా బ్లెస్సింగ్స్ ఉన్నాయి నీకు ఇప్పుడు ఎప్పుడు.
థ్యాంక్ యూ, లవ్ యూ.
అయిపోయింది, పూజ అయిపోయిందమ్మా.
అయిపోయింది అత్త. అమ్మ వాళ్ళు వాట్సాప్ దీంట్లో కాల్లో ఉన్నారు.
ఓకే, చూడు.
సరే అట్లాగే
చూడమ్మా.
ఓకే, థ్యాంక్ యూ. ఇప్పుడే ఇనిషియేషన్ సెరమనీ అయిపోయింది, చూసారా?
Thank you all very much.
ఇప్పుడే మా అత్తయ్య చూసారా?